that in the music recording is in progress. What you're about to see is that in the music publishing world في عوائد في إيرادات يعني revenue royalties إلها دخل بالميوزك publishing غير الديستريبيوشن بحق لك تاخدها.
اوكي.
لأنه إحنا بالعالم العربي هذا الاندستري جديد، في الناس لسه مش عارفة إنه في مصاري عم تنلم من الكولكشن سوسايتيز هاي. إذا أنت مش عارف أو مش مسجل حالك كرايتر ومش مسجل إنه أنا your name I am okay you didn't register your name as a writer, your song under your name. هدول ال collection societies when they collect, if they don't find you, they're just going to give back the money to major labels or whoever it is that has the biggest cuts. Worst case scenario, like Jean-François was saying, someone out there already knows, your song has a lot of music publishing revenue out there, and can in your name claim إنه أنا اللي ألفت هاي الأغنية وأنا اللي
اها.
لحنتها وأنا اللي كتبتها they collect the money on your behalf. That's one thing. So one is monetary. الإشي الثاني is الإشي المهم إنه بيصير له الحق. They can, sorry, I'm going to speak in English here so Jean-François
اوكي.
can jump in. They start, aside from the monetary aspect, they have the right then to do what they want with the composition. So let's say somebody wants to use your song in an ad that you don't want it to be used in, or in a film that you don't want it to be used in, or
اها.
covered by an artist you don't want it to be covered by. They start to have that say to say yes or no. And I think Jean-François actually in the next slide is going to be talking about that important aspect.
Yes.
اوكي.
هيك ردينا على سؤالك ولا في نقطة
لا
ما؟
يعني لحد الآن تمام. I believe إنه شوي نطيت عن السؤال، لسه في أشياء لقدام، بس
لا
all good.
عادي، زي ما
Uh,
حكينا كل ما تسألوا كل ما أحسن.
okay. The second question, because we're in this slide specifically, I want to ask about the names. I want to call it nicknames. هلا as an indie artist, let's say, I make a music in my small studio, so I be the composer, the songwriter, the producer. Uh, what exactly should I call myself? Is an indie artist, is it enough for all of this work?
Do you mean يعني you have a stage name أو an artist name?
Let's say that. Let's say we are creating a CV for it, or like an bio on Instagram.
اوكي.
لما yeah.
لا ما فهمت السؤال. بدك تسجل انت عندك مثلا اسم فني واسم اسمك الحقيقي ومختلفين عن بعض؟
لا، خليني أعيد السؤال بصيغة تانية.
اه
هلا أنا يعني كارتست عم بسجل باستوديو لحاله، يعني one man band، ويعني أنا بسوي الألحان وأنا بسوي الكلمات وأنا بسوي
اه
كل إشي، يعني الأغنية كاملة أنا بسويها. أنا بهذا الدور عشان أحفظ، يعني أحفظ كل إشي سويته. هل إني أسمي حالي independent artist هل هو كفاية؟
okay. So as a one person band or as a singer songwriter, I'm going to call
Yeah.
you. You just need to list yourself as the composer and the lyricist, and then you
Mhm.
cover everything you need to cover because you're the person who's doing all these roles. These roles are not listed as lazim. It's not because you have to fill in each one.
Okay.
It's just to say that when we say songwriter or creator, actually, in this slide, it can be the author, the lyricist, the composer, arranger إذا كان في composition بالarrangement.
Mhm.
And adapter إذا if you get the permission من زي ما إذا أعطاني حفيد عبد
Yeah,
الوهاب
yeah, yeah.
مثلا إذا أعطاني أنا الحق بكون أنا adapter I have the percentage. but it's not that you have to fill each one. So you don't need to use the word independent artist. You just need to register as the lyricist and composer. And that will be clearer once in the second session, I think.
Okay, okay. It's all clear now. Thank you.
Yasmin, definitely it is recommended that you actually write your, like Jean-François said, that you write your title in Arabic phonetically, spelling out the name of your song. It's recommended to do it with English letters. It's easier to collect your royalties worldwide because right now the state of the global industry is such that it's easier to collect under the I don't know what to call the letters. Latin letters? No. What did you call them? Occidental language letters, yes.
Yes. So it's thank you, Anna. So I would like to talk with you about what is a sound recording. A sound recording is a fixation of the musical work on a medium, a file, a vinyl, a tape, a CD. And the sound recording embeds the composition. You have to be clear about the difference between both. For example, My Way, which is one of the most famous songs ever. You can know the version by Elvis Presley or by Frank Sinatra. If you're a specialist, you can know the version by Paul Anka. And if you are a hardcore fan, perhaps you know that at the origin it was a French song named Comme d'habitude. So we are talking about the same song, My Way, and we've got hundreds of sound recordings embedding the song My Way. So the performers of the song recordings, such as Elvis, Frank Sinatra, Paul Anka, blah, 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 they are absolutely different from the creators of the song, which are unknown French guys. Okay, it's totally different. So you have to be clear. Once a song is created, this song can be used and reused by an infinity of performers during concerts or by performers on song recordings. And it's the way it works. And this is why it's so important to clarify your position. Sometimes you are just one of the creator of the song. Sometimes you are the performer as well. But anyway, you have to clarify the fact that you are sometimes both the creator, the lyricist, the composer, the adapter, the arranger, and one of the performers as well. But someone else has the right, the full right, to take your song, to perform your song without asking you the permission to do this. If a performer just perform your song, sing it in his own way, in his own style, with his own instruments, it's okay. You don't have to ask the permission to do this. You just have to ask the permission if you want to change things. And this is exactly what you did, Anna, in your previous example. You asked someone, say, could I change the order of the lyrics? Could I add some instrument, change a little bit the melody, arrange stuff? You have to ask for this, and you are supposed to do by this way a new arrangement, and you are supposed to be the owner of a split of the ownership of this new arrangement. But if you are just singing the song of someone else, it's okay. If I pray for this not to happen, but if I come on stage and start to sing the Beatles song, even if I have absolutely no talent to do this, I'm entitled to do this. I can sing all the songs of the world and ask people to pay to see me in a concert. I have nothing to ask to anyone. Okay, so the fact of being a performer, just the fact of performing is allowed. We are talking about free expression. You've got the right to do this. You can sing the songs of anyone without asking for. So I wanted to share this with you. It's important. Do you have questions on this notion?
Jean-François, yeah, sorry. I think this is totally key because from my experience in different workshops around the planet about copyright, this confusion usually comes from the fact that in the studio, the artist composes and performs. So the two value chains and type of rights, there's kind of a confusion because usually it's one man or one lady who's actually in the middle of both. So I just want to make sure that all our participants are totally at ease with this double concept. And please ask any question you might have at this point because this is very key.
I do have a question if you don't mind.
Go
Please.
ahead.
All right, so I've written a song about 5 minutes in length, and this song is completely original except for one part where it uses the melody from I don't know if you know it, Axel F for the movie of Beverly Hills Cop.
How long is the length that you used?
For the melody, just the full melody,
Okay.
like about maybe 8 seconds. Is that
So,
considered copyright infringement?
I believe that would be if you're using the actual recorded melody from their version, I think it's considered sampling. If you're using the composition and playing it or singing it, Jean-François, if I'm not mistaken, my guess would be that you would have to credit that use somehow, but I don't know how this would happen. I'll speak of a case that I know of after Jean-François answers. He's the expert in this case.
Yes, this is a very good question. Thank you, Mohanad, for asking this. Spoiler alert, the answer is not simple. Okay, I'm sorry for this in advance. So yes,
Welcome to music publishing. Nothing is ever simple in this industry.
Yeah.
so yes, in a pure legal world, this is copyright infringement. That is to say, you use a work and you cut the work just using few seconds of this work, and you embed the original work in a secondary work, your own work. So by doing this, you mutilate the original work, and this is copyright infringement. You cannot do this without the clear and written authorization of all the original rights holders, composers, authors, arrangers, adapters, and even a publisher if there is one. So it's always complicated to embed a piece of work into another work. In the real life, it depends on the success you will have with your secondary work. Let me give you an example on this. If your own work, the secondary work, is not a huge success, whatever the quality of the work, but it's not a commercial success, nobody will care because no one has time to dive into this and understand what's in it. Okay, if you are not on the top of charts in your country or in your region, nobody will care about this because there is no money connected to the exploitation of your secondary work. You know, this is super pragmatic. They won't sue you just because they have nothing to win. Okay, they don't waste time to track you and to ban you if there is no money on the table for them. They won't have time to do this. But if you are unlucky, even if you are not super famous, if you are unlucky, perhaps they could catch you and you will lose your suit because you were not allowed to do this. So two things. You cannot, the key principle is you cannot change the work of someone else without asking for this before. Okay, if you use the work as it is, you are just a performer, nothing to ask for. If you take the work and you change things, you cut it, you change the language, you change the way it is built, you change the lyrics, you change anything, you change the rhythm, you have to ask for. But the reality is that, from my experience, if you do so and that your work remains super indie and under the radar, nobody cares because nobody has time to make a lawsuit to someone which is not rich, you know, to be frank and a little bit direct. So take your chance or not. It depends on things. I faced some examples. I remember this, or in France, someone, an artist, unknown one, started to use samples and melody of songs, mix a lot of things to create something absolutely different. And he asked for nothing. It became a huge success in France. And thanks to this success, he earned a lot of money. And thanks to this, he was able to hire very good attorneys and lawyers to defend himself. And at the end, they made an agreement with the original rights holders to split the big cake and split the important revenue connected to what was at the beginning a pirate work. You know, once again, it's a question of being pragmatic and to understand what is the money connected to what you've done.
Okay.
Is answering the question? I'm sorry, it's complicated, but this is my experience. I manage dozens of lawsuits connected to this in my career, and it's always a question of who is powerful or who is not, and what is the amount of money on the table. It's not really a question of Does it follow the law? Does it respect the law or not?
Mohanad, I think this answers your question.
It does. Thank you very much for your time.
Okay, I'm going to jump in here. We have, Tama, how many people do we have in this session?
30,
Or Lama?
or 29, I think, on top of us. 20,
Okay,
22.
we have at least 5 people who I think there's different levels of knowledge of this topic of copyrights, but we have 5 people who are very excited to get to the part of, okay, can we have a simulation to show us how we register an original work step by step? We're 33 now. Okay, there's 33 people here. 5 people want to get to the point of, I have an original work, show me how to register it, and steps to register and collect. Let me just say something. Jean-François, can we jump to the slide of recording versus publishing? I don't know if it's next.
Sure.
Uh,
So,
Actually, maybe the slide. Okay, so we'll go here and then we go back to your slide. This is what I need to say that the 5 people, and there might be more, click like on Usama's question. If you have that wow, okay, we're at 6, 7. Okay, great. So there's a lot of people here who have more information than others. We're managing all the different levels of knowledge that's in the session. So it looks like about at least 10 people have more knowledge than the rest. We have to give the basics, so bear with us until we get to the point. Unless I see 33 likes on Osama's post, then we cannot jump to that because there's some basic, and even if we do, there's some basic information that needs to be known. If you look at this slide, اللي بدي أحكي لكم إياه إنه the music recording industry اللي هو the left side is the part of the industry that everyone knows. You're an artist, you go into the studio, you have a producer or you're self-produced, you produce a song, you mix and master it, you release it, you put it onto Spotify وأنغامي وديزر وكل هدول Apple it's released عندكم a sound recording, and all the royalties that come through or the revenue that comes through is through the streaming and the distribution of that specific sound recording. That's the part that we all know. The music publishing industry, the reason why it's very complicated is because it's a cross between law, math, technology, and it's a big mess. So the music publishing industry, you're probably thinking, why should we go through the hassle of understanding how to register all of this and how to protect the copyrights? It functions very differently. It has to do with composers and publishers. And in this case, you can't, like in the recording side, you can be the artist, the producer, the mixing engineer, the mastering engineer, the releasing artist. You can all be one. And you can collect everything that's owed to you on the recording side without having a label. So it's a bit easier and it moves faster and the money moves faster. On the publishing side, it's not either or. It's not you're a composer and you can do everything with the registration steps from A to Z and collect. You actually have to have some type of publishing, even if you take the steps as a composer. And it's very complicated. So before we go into those steps, which I think will happen in a separate session, we do have that presentation ready to talk about the options you have. I think before we reach that point, there's a few more concepts that need to be understood. And Thomas or Lama, jump in if I'm saying anything wrong about the timeline of what we're delivering. Jean-François, jump in, go ahead.
sure.
Jean-François, if you can go to the next slide. I saw Thomas was gonna unmute, but I think this means that I can continue. The next slide is just showing why should you care? This is based on the numbers don't matter here. What I want you to see is the fact that on the recording side, yes, we're talking about whether it's 28, 29, 30, 31, whatever billion dollar industry size of revenue that we have on the recording side. On the publishing side, مع إنه أصغر, it is a significant amount. This 11.75 billion is as of 2023, but it's an underestimate because it's only what is actually registered in that report. So there are independently gained revenues that are not recorded in this report. So let's just say we're at 12, 13, whatever the number is, it doesn't matter. It's a huge number. What I want to tell you, if you take that orange, pink, I don't know what this color is, portion, and you divide it across the world, راح تشوفوا إنه بالعالم العربي, in the Arab world, there is almost no representation because of the fact that we're still very new and the publishing royalties are just beginning to be collected, which is great news for you, for me, for us, because it means that the industry is beginning and the piece of the cake that we have has only upwards to grow, which means we need to actually collect it. And Jean-François, I think now you can go back to the slide before to talk about the songs. And Thomas has a question.
Not really a question, just a statement. The accurate figures, I mean, the latest figures we have is basically for publishing in the world, so collected by the CMOs, the collective management organizations, is about 10 million JOD, 10 billion, sorry, it's 10 billion JOD, and it's more or less representing 50% of the left column that you see in purple, which is the recorded music that is around the double, about 20 billion JOD. Those are really the rough numbers, just to confirm what Hannah was just saying. Bear in mind what Hannah just said. I'm just rewording what Hannah said. That for you guys, artists, authors, composers from your region, you might be writing in Arabic, and maybe your first markets are the Arabic markets. It's exactly what Hannah said. The interesting situation for you guys is that it's a totally untapped value chain for now. When we have the double collected for recorded music, the purple on your left, so again, more or less 20 billion JOD per year, those rights in purple are collected almost everywhere in the world. On the right side, the music publishing rights, as Hannah just said, are barely collected in the Arabic-speaking countries, are barely collected in sub-Saharan Africa. So it means that the margin of progression is very important. On top of that, there are interesting developments when it comes to music publishing, notably with video games, for example, where the relationship is growing between music and this number one creative industry. So just to say that, yes, it's great that you are with us today and that you stick with your interest about music publishing.
Great.
Absolutely. In the future, I'm convinced personally that the music publishing market will be bigger than the recorded music market. Yes,
Sorry.
yes. Once some region of the world will be fully connected to the network of collective management organization. Yes, it will take perhaps a decade, but I'm convinced of it because it's growing faster. So yes, super quickly, just to be sure about the vocabulary we use. Who owns the sound recording? It's very basic, but the owner of the sound recording is the one who paid for it. Okay? Performers are paid by the record producer, and most of the time we talk about the producer I'm the producer of this song, I'm producer of this sound. What it means is that the guy in the studio manage the recording, the quality of the recording, and is not necessarily the owner of the sound recording, because the owner is the guy who has paid for it. Okay, so it's important to understand that the people who's got the rights on the sound recording are the guys who have paid for. They are the master owner, they are the sound recording owner, and in the real life, in interviews on TV, radio, when people say, I'm the producer, most of the time they don't own the sound recording, they just realize and create the artistic part in the studio. Okay, just to be clear about this notion, because when you have done this as a producer, the artistic producer, sometimes you have a split of the ownership of the sound recording if you are very famous, but most of the time you are just paid to do your job, and after you have no other rights on the sound recording. Okay, it depends on the commercial credibility you add before entering into the studio with the real owner of the sound recording.
Okay, quick test, guys, ladies and guys. Sound recording and composition, same or different? Someone say same, someone say different, put likes on the chat. Or no one's here.
It's
Great.
different.
Okay, just making sure. We're good. It's good. We have people. One song has two types of assets. One is the composition, one is the sound recording. Sound recording belongs to the recording industry side. Composition belongs to the publishing side. Just confirming before we move on that we're all on the same page.
Brilliant. It's a huge success.
Yes.
So perhaps could we move forward and talk a little bit about the main stakeholders on the composition side. So the creator, the author, the composer, the arranger, the adapter, the songwriter, whatever you name them, the songwriter creates the work and can transfer the exploitation rights to the publisher. It's not an obligation, but if he wants his work to be optimized regarding the exploitation, most of the time, all professional songwriters work with the publisher. So
I'm gonna interject. للي مش فاهم ايش يعني exploitation او حكي محاميين. exploitation بس معناه use of, making money of, administering. It's not actually exploitation. It's a legal term, legalese. It just means administration of or monetization of or management of. Go
yeah,
ahead. Sorry.
yes, absolutely. Thank you for this. The publisher exclusively, that is to say, he has an exclusive contract with the songwriter. He exclusively manages the rights of the work, whatever the usage of the work can be. Okay, it's global. So the publisher is the only point of contact when it comes to use a work, whatever the circumstances. If I want to use a song in my music platform, or if I want to use it in my film or in an advert or whatever, I have to ask the publisher for it. And most of the time, in order to be more efficient, the publisher, alongside with the songwriter, they decide together to join their forces and to become member of a collective management organization, which gathers them in order to collectively manage their rights. Okay, so this is the example we gave previously. We named SACEM in France, IMRO in Ireland. You talked about ISMA. I remember, or whatever, this kind of collective management organization, they act as a trusted third party. That is to say, everybody is supposed to trust them, hopefully, because they're supposed to be honest, and they are supposed to negotiate the royalty rates, so the revenues of publishers and songwriters, with all the professionals which want to use the works into their own business of music platform, film, adverts, or song recording, or whatever. Okay, so the songwriter is supposed to be a human being. The publisher is a professional. Most of the time, it's a company. And the collective management organization is a trusted third party which gathers both songwriters and publishers in order to be more powerful to negotiate the revenue of the songwriters and the publishers with the rest of the music industry.
Any questions at this point? Go ahead.
I would just add or reword. Jean-François, do you mind going back on the previous? Thank you. When Jean-François, you say transfer the exploitation rights, so those are the economic rights that you have on your works. So music composition, lyrics, as we said, arrangements, beat making, etc. You actually transfer the management of it, but not your rights, obviously, because there's a share between you and the publisher. The publisher is going to get a part of the cake of those revenues for the work he's doing, and you're getting the rest of it. I usually present the publisher as a work manager. He manages the works. He's not the manager of the author. He's certainly not the manager of the performer. The publisher is the manager of the work. The business of the manager, the money he makes is on the work, on the exploitation, the different type of exploitations. This is what there's an S in Jean-François' slide, based on the different exploitations of the work. So the interest of the publisher is to have the best works possible that match as much as possible in terms of, being this work being broadcasted, recorded by numerous different performers, played live, synced on movies or advertising or video games, blah, blah, blah. So that's why, to make it brief, I just have this rewording to maybe just add in a complementary way, is that the publisher is the manager of the work.
I would just like to say, just like there are indie labels on the recording side, what Thomas just said applies to indie publishers, like Balafiche in Jordan. Hint, hint. However, when it comes to major labels who also have major publishing arms, counterparts, they do share the copyrights. So for traditional contracts between the songwriter and the publisher, there is sharing of copyright. Outside of the majors, there typically isn't. for the most part.
So the songwriter, author, composer, they can join a collective management organization, become a member of it, and this collective management organization will negotiate with Spotify, Deezer, radio, TV, everyone, in order to collect revenue on behalf of the songwriter. So you can do this without a publisher. You can do this alone and become a member as a creator, become a member of a collective management organization of your own choice. You can choose, even if you live in Jordan, to become a member of a collective management organization in Germany. There is no problem. You just have to register, giving a few data, but the details of this data will be part of another session. But you just send the name of the song, the score, a recording of the song, and it's your own details, and it's okay. If you want to become more professional, you can work with a publisher, and you can sign a publishing contract as a creator with a publisher. So the details, once again, the details of this kind of publishing contracts, you will be able to dive into this in another session. But just for the first one regarding the basics, both publishers and creators are members of a collective management organization. It's easier if they are both members of the same CMO, but it's possible to be a member of different CMOs. Okay, but if you have the choice, it's better to be a member of the same one, but it's technically possible to be a member of different CMO. Okay, and in another session, we will explain how to manage this thanks to metadata, identifiers, and so on. So are you at this stage clear about this topic?
Yeah, it makes sense. Thank you.
Brilliant. Perfect. So I propose to talk now about the international protection of works. Okay. So we will just look together at the main points, but it's crucial to understand what it is about. There is a Berne Convention. No matter if you remember or not the name of Berne Convention, what is important, which are the basic principles of it. In this convention, that is to say, spoiler alert already, just for you to be super attentive. Jordan is a contracting state of the Berne Convention. That is to say, what we are talking about is as a strength of law in Jordan. Okay, so what we are talking about, this is it applies in Jordan.
Correct.
So which are the three basic principles? There is a national treatment. In Jordan, all the works are protected the same way, whatever the origin of the creators or the origin of the work. And in all the countries which have signed the Convention of Berne, we are talking about hundreds and hundreds of countries, this is the way. The protection is automatic. This is super important. even if you are not a member of a CMO, the work is already protected. Regarding the Jordan law, the work is protected just because the work has been created. It's automatic. The protection is automatic. And there is an independence of this protection, which means there is no difference between the treatment and the protection of works regarding whatever topics, regarding nationality, regarding political problems, regarding whatever. It's the protection of work is always the same, is automatic, and is independent of nationality, origin, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so it's a super strong protection. And this protection has got two different parts. The first one, which is perhaps the most difficult to understand, is the moral right. What is the moral right? The right to claim authorship of the work and the right to object to any mutilation, deformation, or other modification of or other derogatory action in relation to the work that would be prejudicial to the author's honor or reputation. This is a quote, because this is not the way I write things. This is a quote, but this is the original quote, just to share with you the strength, the powerfulness, the power of this moral right. That is to say, as a creator, you've got the right to defend your own honor and reputation. That is to say, you have the right to say, no, I don't want this song to be used in a context which is not aligned with my values, my honor, my reputation. Okay, this is very important. The usual example I give in such circumstances is when it comes to politics. If you have a candidate for a politician election and you are not aligned with the values of this candidate, if this candidate use your song in an advert spot or during a meeting saying that this song is super close to his own value, and if it's not the case, it's from the moral right that the writers got. You've got the right to say no and to forbid the usage of your work by someone who will use it in a way that will be an offense to your own honor or reputation. This is quite rare, but it happens. We have seen it in the US election of when a lot of creators say, no, I do not want my song to be used by this candidate or this candidate. And they face problems to protect this moral right, because in the US, the moral right is weaker than in Europe, for example. The moral right, most of the time, is at stake when you deform or modify a work. In the previous example, we said, okay, what if I use a few seconds of a previous melody inside my new song? Okay, we are talking about moral right, because the way you used the previous work you modify it because you cut it, you put it in pieces, you mutilate it, and it's a question of moral right. That is to say, the original owners, creators of the song can or cannot put a red flag on the usage that you want to do with their original song. Okay, if they are okay with it, it's perfect. If they are not okay, they can stop and forbid the usage you want to do with their original song.
Maybe here's a good time to let Thomas make a comment.
Yes, thank you, Hannah. Very short. So just to add to what Jean-François just said, it means, in other words, that you have a complete song. No one can take only 3 sentences from that song without your authorization. This is what exactly Jean-François was stating by mutilation.
It's such a severe word.
It is, but
Yes.
it's meaningful and relevant because a work is complete, is not bits and parts
Yes.
initially. The second thing that's important maybe to add, Jean-François, to what Jean-François just said is I'm the author and I might completely disagree with the composer. The guy who did the beat making and the music, I did the lyrics, we completely disagree. He's very happy with this stupid Trump ideas. I'm not at all. Well, if we disagree, if one of us disagrees on that composite work, this group work, the usage would be blocked in an author's right philosophy of IP. And this is where the moral right, as I wrote the lyrics, I have a moral right. Actually, if I refuse, it's refuse for all the right holders on that song.
Again, so this is to reframe. If you're working on your own and composing, that's one thing. If you have co-writers, it's very important to know that you're all on the same page. And if one person disagrees, إذا واحد فيكم يعني ما بطل بده هذا الاستخدام المعين للأغنية أو للتأليف المقطوعة المؤلفة، صفي إنه nothing can be done with it. So this is very important in the case of co-writers.
Absolutely. Besides the moral rights, you've got economic rights. The main economic rights are the right to translate. You change the language from English to Arabic, for example. The right to make adaptations and arrangements. We have already talked about this. Adaptation is when you change lyrics. Arrangement is when you change music. The right to perform in public. I will explain this a little bit later. The right to broadcast. You easily understand this on TV. The right to make reproductions. I will explain as well this one in details. And the right to use the work as basis for an audiovisual work. So basically, we're talking about video clip, music video clip on MTV or stuff like this.
Okay, here I'll say انتبهوا على الperformance the right to perform in public. بالعربي حق الأداء العلني. The right to make reproductions has to do with mechanical rights. So حق النسخ الميكانيكي. للأسف that is the actual translation. هدول التنين, both of these rights play a role on both sides of the diagram. They play a role on the distribution side and they play a role on the recording side, sound recording side, and on the composition side.
So if you're okay, I will explain a little bit more what is the right to perform in public and the right to make reproductions.
Sorry, just before that, Jean-François, sorry, it means that each of the rights that you just stated as um, part of this family of the economic rights, it means that each of them can be part of a deal generating money for you as the author. Each of them.
Absolutely, absolutely. We are talking about economic rights. Each line is a source of revenue for you. Thank you, Thomas. So, the main economic rights, the right to performing in public is called, on a day-to-day basis, performing rights. The right to make reproductions is called mechanical rights. And when it comes to broadcast, to use a song in a film, video, adverts, we talk about synchronization rights. Performing rights, mechanical rights, synchronization rights. These three concepts, these three notions are super important to master. Very, very important. If you can remember performing rights, mechanical rights, sync rights, synchronization rights, it will be very important for you in the future because these are the main source of revenue for a writer. And these three sources of revenues, you will see this in details in a coming new session, are managed differently with different splits and different rules. But for today, what is important to keep in mind is that performing rights are at stake when it comes to, for example, play live the song in a concert, in a venue. This is the purest performing rights exploitation in a concert. But the way it's managed in the world of collective management organization, they decided that when a song is played on radio, on TV, on digital platforms, a part of this usage is made by the usage of performing rights. So in fact, you can get revenue from your performing rights whenever your song is played in a concert, is played on radio, on TV, on digital platform, music streaming platform, on YouTube, wherever a lot of usages are connected to performing rights, because the song is performed to the attention of a public. If the public is there just in front of the performer, it's okay in a concert, but if the public is spread out everywhere in the world thanks to digital usages, it's the same thing. So when it's performed, the creators and the publisher, they get performing rights. And these rights, most of the time, they are collected by the CMO, the collective management organization you have chosen.
So can I make it clear here? بالعالم العربي, something that's different in our world is that composers specifically, songwriters, lyricists, composers, whatever, they're not collecting on live performance. What does this mean? So let's say Yasmin. Yasmin's song, let's assume Yasmin wrote a song. No, let's assume Yasmin is performing a song written by Muhannad. I'm just choosing random names from the names I see in front of me. And Yasmin is the performing artist, Muhannad is the writer. Yasmin goes on tour and she performs in, I don't know, 30 venues on her tour, and she's affiliated with the CMO. In the non-Arab world, what you actually have to do as a songwriter, Muhannad, is that you have to submit, right? Jean-François, correct me if I'm wrong. You submit the set lists that are performed in every venue, because aside from the money that's paid to the performing artist, there is money that the venue has to pay to the CMO, but the CMO has to pay to the writer for that live performance of those songs that you wrote. So I'm getting a thumbs up from Jean-François, which means I got it right. In the case of an indie artist like myself, like many of you, if you're the songwriter and you're also the performing artist, then you should be submitting the live sets of your songs to your CMO for every performance venue that you perform at around the world. It's still not active here, but let's say you are an artist touring in Europe or North America or anywhere that's doing this kind of collection where the venues do pay the CMOs, then you get extra money. So as a Hana Marhas, I'll get money as a performer, but I'll also get money from my CMO as a songwriter for what I just performed. That public performance right, or royalty that I'm collecting, is also owed by Spotify, Anghami, Apple, Deezer, and whatnot. They also have to pay the CMO because that that stream is considered public performance. It's also considered reproducing, so you get mechanical rights as well. You get both types of royalties from your CMO as a songwriter.
Thank you, Anna.
You're very welcome.
What is mechanical rights? Mechanical rights is the right to embed the song inside a record. So the main usages are the fact that the song is used in a CD, in a tape, in vinyl, but as well the collective management organizations, they decided that when you listen music to the radio, on TV, a part of it is recorded. That is to say, it's not played live in the radio or TV studio. It's recorded. There is a technical part, or the sound recording is played, or even it's played live during a session, a live session in a radio. There is a recording before the signal is sent through the TV or the radio channel. So what we face as a reality is that some usages are purely performing rights, for example, a venue, a concert. Some usages are purely mechanical rights, like a CD, a vinyl, or a tape. And the majority, the big majority of usages are a mix of both. And in each CMO, they decide of their own rules regarding the split between performing rights and mechanical rights. And it can change. It's not written in the marble, it can change because their board decide from time to time to change the rules because they want to collect more performing rights or collect more mechanical rights. So you have to just have a look.
So it changes, is it correct to say that it changes depending on the government laws that it's associated with?
It depends on, sorry, it depends on the kind of CMO. in a lot of countries, CMOs are very strongly connected to the government. In some other countries, the CMOs are more independent. For example, in the US, you've got four different CMOs, and these CMOs are managed by representatives of the rights holders themselves. And some CMOs are now from a few years now, are owned by for-profit companies. They remain CMOs, but they are owned by for-profit companies.
So Isma in UAE, بالإمارات, is actually one of those examples. It's a شركة, even though they work closely with the government, it's still considered a private company.
Absolutely. And you as a publisher or creator, you have to evaluate the efficiency of each CMO. You have to assess this. You don't have to be naive regarding this. Don't choose a CMO because it's easy to register or because it's just beside you. Choose a CMO because they are the most efficient for your kind of repertoire.
In our case, I would add you need to consider, as Jordanians, the tax implications for certain CMOs. So the CMO that you choose to register with, most efficient is definitely the highest consideration. You want to look at if they have fees, what kind of fees, are the fees worth the efficiency? And also you need to look at the tax considerations, because revenue coming to you as a Jordanian from an entity برا الأردن, some countries have higher tax rates than others.
Definitely. This is really important. The third right, which is important, is the sync right. And most of the time, it's managed directly by the publisher itself. Most of the time, it's not managed by the CMO. You can face exemptions, but most of the time, it's managed by the publisher. And honestly, it's better like this.
And that's why you want to sign with Balafish, so we can get you sync deals and get your songs on series, and we all end up happy in the end.
So anytime the work is used, embedded in a film, an advert, an audiovisual asset, the sync rights comes and it's something you negotiate. There is no fixed price. There is no tariff. It's not like the CMOs. It's a usual and basic negotiation between
one-time deal.
Yep. And with a scope which has to be as accurate as possible in terms of duration, in terms of usage, in terms of territories. And most of the time, it's a lump sum which is given to the publisher. And most of the time as well, when the work is used into a film or an advert at the same time than the sound recording, both labels, that is to say, the sound recording owner and the publisher, are paid at the same time, and most of the time they are paid the same price. Okay, because this is a global usage. It's not a written law, it's just a usage, so it can be different, but most of the time there is a clause of the most favorized nation into the contract that says that if the song recording owner is getting $1,000 for this sync, the publisher will receive exactly the same amount of money.
Just to interject here. So if you're getting the $2,000 deal, 1,000 goes to the sound recording and 1,000 goes to the publisher. The publishing side obviously gets split between the publisher and the writer in terms of whatever the agreement is between the publisher and the songwriter. There was one old question that I think now is relevant. I'm going to bring it up. One was about the synchronization on TikTok, YouTube, that audio-visual element, because it's considered micro sync. Is that collected by CMOs or by the publisher? And then the other question maybe can be showcased with your tool is what happens if I'm a songwriter and I find out that a publisher has claimed 100% of the work. How can I contest it as a songwriter?
Okay. So first question, microsync. If you are major publisher, such as Universal, Sony, BMG, Warner, Chappell, you can collect directly your microsync rights on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, so and so. If you are a smaller publisher, it's difficult to enter into a direct deal with these platforms. It's easier with YouTube. YouTube is much more open than other platforms. So it's easier. I don't say it's easy. I say it's easier to enter into a direct deal with YouTube. Easier in some countries than other. So to be crystal clear, it's easier to get a direct deal with YouTube in the US and in Canada than in other regions of the world if you are not a major company. And if you are not big enough, the only way for you is to go through your CMO to collect the microsync on YouTube, TikTok, Twitch, Instagram, blah, blah, blah. The terrible truth is that most of the time it is very, very badly paid, if not paid at all. So it's easier to get money from YouTube because they build up a very complex system to pay rights holders. So it's not perfect. It's full of imperfection, but finally you get paid. On TikTok, on the Meta, on Twitch, the situation is really bad because most of the time they are just paying lump sum for several years, and the split is not made based on accurate reports. It's based on market share. So
we're very used to Meta being unfair in everything. So.
In this case, if you are not a very big publisher, a very big creator, most of the time you will just receive cents from TikTok, Meta, so and so. It's very difficult to be fairly paid. It's easier to be fairly paid on YouTube, even if it's not easy to be fairly paid on YouTube. But it's possible, there is a way. if you go direct with TikTok or Meta, they say, we don't care about you. See you during the lawsuit. We don't care. Okay.
I cannot wait until Meta doesn't exist. If we can, I think it would be a good time now to show the visualization that you have.
Sure, with pleasure. Give me a few seconds to put this in place. So, Anna and Thomas, the stage is yours.
Now is the time for the little break with the entertainment by Lama. Are you here?
Lama is going to entertain us, yes?
Look at her.
Lama is not here. Do we have any questions? I can field any questions you might have.
Or there might be a need for a 5 minutes
I'm
break.
here, I'm here. But I was doing something.
زقطناكي لقطناكي يا لما. Okay, thank you. There's an all good here. Okay, great.
Do we need
I
a
think
5 minutes break for anyone?
I think that's up to everyone and Jean-François. I have my coffee, so I'm all set. Okay, guys, this is worth it. It's a very interesting visualization from Jean-François' tool.
Okay, do you see my screen?
We do.
Okay, so it's up to you. Do you want to have a break, or do you want us to jump into this right now?
I think this is the last section. We can probably continue and finish, but how about you guys vote? Don't mind. Yes, let's keep going.
Okay.
The women have spoken, therefore we continue.
Yes, sure. So, Anna shared with me some names of famous songs. So we decided to just have a look on YouTube to see how their songs are currently managed. So if we take, for example, this song.
Can you actually take the other Nasif Zaytoun song?
Which one?
Walid is curious about that one. Takke.
Takke?
Yes, that one,
Okay.
yes.
So Takke. Takke, this official lyric video was released in 2019. Okay. And the number of views are quite important. It's 144 million views worldwide. So it's a huge success, okay? A huge amount of money is at stake. If we want to look at the situation, how these songs are managed, what we discover is, do you see it? Okay. I just wanted to, okay, it's better like this. This is a map. You see all the countries with different colors, okay? This is green, this is yellow, this is red. When it's green, that means that rights are claimed, fully claimed. In France, for example, we can see mechanical rights, which are claimed 100% by Flava Production. Performing rights are claimed 100% by Flava Production. So, according to YouTube, the situation is perfectly normal and clear because 100% is claimed. In the UK, claimed by the same stakeholders. Saudi Arabia, same stakeholder. Everywhere when it's green, it's okay. From the point of view of YouTube. When we take a look at the red countries, we can see There is a country red. Yes. Israel, it's red because there is we face two stakeholders, Flava Production and Akum. Akum is the Israeli collective management organization. They both claim 100% of mechanical.
So let's call it, for the sake of this session, we're calling this region, not for the sake of this session, we're calling this Palestine. And unfortunately, the Israeli Collection Society is incorrectly stealing. But we can
Yes,
continue.
yes. Sorry, what we use is the names used by YouTube in this tool.
We refer to it as Palestine, so
Yeah. Wait, I'm sorry about this. So, but this country is red. There is a conflict. What does it mean? It means the money is blocked. No one is paid. Neither Akum nor Flava are paid in this country because it's red.
so this is an important point. Whenever there is an overlap in two entities claiming one song, then neither one gets paid until it's sorted.
Absolutely. It's blocked. Same thing in Colombia with different stakeholders. Latin author managing the Universal repertoire and Latin author managing the Sony ATV repertoire. They are in conflict for this song in Colombia. You know, Sony, through Latin author, is claiming 25% of mechanicals, and Universal is claiming 100% of mechanicals in this country. So mechanicals are blocked in Colombia. Why? We have to investigate and dive, but this is a reality.
Batul, have a great night. We have somebody who has to leave. May I ask you, Jean-François, we're going to do a visualization of a song relevant to a Jordanian songwriter. This is also relevant, and this is clearly needs to be fixed, but we're going to leave this for later. The song that I would ask you kindly to show is the Hamza Namira song, Yaba, which is, yeah.
Yes, Yaba.
So
Okay,
this one is written 100% lyrics and composition by a Jordanian songwriter that we represent. We just signed him. And this is a great visualization of how nothing, I'm actually surprised that there's a green anywhere because we just signed him as a songwriter, so his catalog has not been registered yet. So I'd be curious to know what the green
So APRA is the Australian collective management organization.
Okay, so this is a great example because, sorry, go ahead.
And they use to claim whatever they can. They are very notorious for this.
Yeah.
It's used in Australia. They don't care, they claim, okay? And after, they try to manage, to fix, to distribute or not, but they collect, okay? Their first reaction is to collect and after to think.
So this is relevant to everyone here. When Balafish, when we as Balafish went in and started to register the catalog, we found a very random foreign name registered somewhere, and we didn't know exactly where, but we're contesting it legally and we're making sure that it's going to be changed. In the music publishing world, this takes time. لقينا الحرامي هيو. This tool is a great way to visualize exactly, okay, where it was being claimed, we can now actually pinpoint it. Whereas without tools like this or solutions, third-party solutions, it's a bit more difficult for a publisher to find where the source of conflict is without just going legal directly. with the help of the CMO or the PRO.
Absolutely, because what I think interesting is that often the situation you face on YouTube is the same on Spotify or Apple Music, or because when a CMO claim, they don't make any difference between Apple Music, Deezer, or YouTube. If they think they control this repertoire, they claim this repertoire worldwide. So
this is another claim.
It's in fact it's the same song Yaba, but in Indonesia.
Okay.
And in Indonesia, WAMI, which is a local collective management organization, claimed 100% of the performing rights, nothing on the mechanical side. Why? I don't know, but thanks to this, we see this reality. You know, the purpose of this demo today is to show you that nothing is easy. Nothing is automated. You have to take care of your rights because the way things are claimed can be a little bit disturbing. We took a look at 2 songs, but if we have chosen other songs, it's quite rare to find out a situation perfectly cleaned everywhere. Most of the times, you face underclaimed. When underclaimed, that means money is left on the table because no one claim for this part of the ownership. When it's overclaimed, it means that the money is blocked for everyone. And sometimes it's cool because it's claimed 100%, but you have to check if the rights holder who has claimed this 100% is the accurate one. So it's a job in itself. And it's important for you to understand that once you have chosen your right publisher, you have to choose the right CMO. And after, you have to ask for your publisher to go on managing rights, even if a CMO is supposed to do this, because nothing is really automatic. And it's important to control the job done by the CMO and to be sure that your rights are really defended and that the CMO is doing what it's supposed to do, especially on the digital side, but as well for consent, blah, blah, blah. Okay, do you want to finish with, do you want to have a look at another song?
Does
Or-
anybody have a preference of what they want to look at or any questions? I would be curious to see Amal's Hulum, which is the one that was featured in Rawabi. So it has a sync deal. This one should be green everywhere, but interesting.
Nearly.
Nearly.
It's quite good. It's SACEM.
Yes.
SACEM is claiming
Amal is based in France, so it would make sense.
yes, in Jordan it's SACEM as well. I assume in France, of course, and in the UK, okay. So in Australia, as usual, APRA, now you know this, they are claiming everything. But the problem from my point of view is that no one is claiming in
Yes, no one is claiming in the US.
and US is more or less 30% of the global market.
Okay, I need to talk to Amal after this session.
And nothing is claimed in Canada. And perhaps it's less important Brazil, India, Argentina, but it could be better to be claimed everywhere. And in Colombia, mechanical is not claimed at all. So Monet is
Although I just read in your legend that the white color says ownership is not cleared, but specific rules might be applied. Could this mean that in the US there's a different?
unfortunately no.
Okay.
It's you know, all the collective management organizations don't have the same rules, and I would say don't have the same ethics. And sometimes the money stay in the country, whatever the origin of the songs.
So she's based part in France, part in the US. So I would find this interesting.
Well, it's curious because in the US, you know, even for performing rights, neither BMI, CISAC, ASCAP, or JMR are no one is claiming, and on the mechanical side of things, no publisher is claiming in the US. So I think this should be fixed.
I'm on it.
At least in the US.
Any other questions from anyone? I think there are no more questions. I think we have delivered a lot of information in 2 hours. Thank you all for being here with us. And if you have any questions, just keep typing. But Jean-François, thank you for co-hosting with me. This was great.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Rima, you're very welcome.
Yes. If you have questions, send questions to Thomas, and Thomas will transfer the questions to me if needed.
Habibti Rawan. Okay, agreed. Thanks, Thomas. I'm going to put myself on mute.
Lama, we're waiting for your conclusion word.
I thought they're waiting from you. Okay, thank you, Hannah. Thank you, Jean-François. That was great. Complicated a bit, but useful.
A bit, Habibti.
So, yeah, Thomas, do you want to add anything regarding the subject?
No, but it's quite normal that it might have sounded complicated. There was a lot of information, even though those were only the basics. But it's worthwhile to maybe come back on the slides of Jean-François.
Yeah.
Let us know if you have any questions, please, because it's important before we organize this in-person day on copyright. I think Lama, we're still working on confirming the date in Amman, based also maybe on the constraints linked to Ramadan. I don't know exactly what will be the timing or the possible organization, but we'll probably go back on all those basics with you, because it's always good to repeat. I also learned about all this by repetition and making sure that I have the right words. So I completely understand what you have to go through. I went through it. We all went through it. Probably Hannah and Jean-François as well, actually. Hannah, you raised your hand. Thank you.
Rima just brought up the same question that I wanted to bring up. Osama earlier had asked about, can you give us a simulation of what we need to do step by step as songwriters to register? And I believe that has Rima and Osama and everyone who wanted to know the answer to this. I think this part will be the second session that's planned for copyrights and rights management, right? That you're still working on. We do have the content ready, I think, but it's to be determined.
But it's the date. Because it's in Ramadan and it was supposed to be a physical session. So we're just doing some last minute.
I think breaking it down into this session where it's informative, basic information versus the second session where we go into more details of the steps was important. We might have been able to do it in one day if maybe we had the whole day, but not in 2 hours. So I will defer to you as to when the next session is, and that will answer the question that Osama brought up.
Yeah. And we're going to send you an email very soon regarding the coming session and the timings and the place. Yeah. And I think Thomas wanted to ask a question regarding Ramadan timing. Do you have any objection or preferences or anything regarding the time of the Ramadan session? Or do you have any objection at all? Do you want to take a break in Ramadan?
Is the question directed to
the participants? I know, Hannah, you don't mind, I think. Yeah, but you have travel.
Yeah, I can work around it. We can figure something out.
But for the participants,
I think maybe after, I agree with Walid, everything should be after iftar.
Are you sure after iftar, will you be focused and ready for a session?
Somebody write after iftar, somebody write before iftar, and let's do votes.
So yeah, we can have before and after.
Yeah.
So let's see. Okay, so maybe we should have a poll.
Yeah,
Yeah, we'll see. Okay.
I'll leave it to you then.
But write us, participants, write us if you have any preference. Pre-iftar if online, post-iftar if in person. Okay.
Oh, I like that, Brahim. Nice solution.
Okay. Anything else? Bye. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Good night. Have a
Thank
great
you,
evening.
Jean-François. Thank you, Anna.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Have a great day. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.